A warm welcome to your midweek Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, September 9. A 45-year-old man perished in a road accident that occurred along St. Stephen's Hill, Blackrock, around 1:30 p.m. According to police, Vincent Allen of Freehill, Blackrock was riding his bicycle on Waterman Road onto St. Stephen's Hill Road when he became involved in a collision with a car traveling along the same road in a westerly direction towards Blackrock Main Road. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver, whose name has not been disclosed, was transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital after complaining of back and shoulder injuries. Police are continuing investigations. There is no community spread of the coronavirus in Barbados, and the head of the COVID-19 monitoring unit assures authorities won't be easing up on the protocols anytime soon. Ronald Chapman made the comments today against the backdrop of 180 confirmed COVID-19 cases. 17 people remain in isolation and 156 have recovered from the viral illness.
My last statistics show that we would have had about 71 cases, and of those 71, 69 were imported. There were 2 persons who would have caught the disease from persons who came into the island. But through our contact tracing, we were able to nip that in the bud to prevent it from getting into the wider community.
Chapman, however, insisted that citizens must continue to adhere to the strict protocols for their own protection.
We have to establish that there is no system that is foolproof. Eventually, and we have seen this, eventually someone will get past the barrier and get into the island. We have had instances where persons came in with negative tests, and for whatever reason, when we retested them, they were positive. It means that the protocols in Barbados are the only thing that's going to protect the local community once persons are enter into the community. So it's important that it is critical that we ensure that persons follow these protocols, because I know a lot of persons have the idea that it is the tourists. It is anyone who's coming into Barbados. It doesn't matter whether they're tourists, whether they're Barbadian, whether they're a business person, short-term visitor, or in transit. It is persons coming into Barbados who may be coming from a high-risk destination or whatever it is. So once they get here, we have to ensure that they are welcomed, that they're able to move around and enjoy our land like we do, but we also have to ensure that the community here in Barbados put the necessary measures in place to protect themselves.
Government is embarking on a tourism recovery plan with industry partners that will see the island going after more business from the luxury travel market segment. This was outlined by Minister of Tourism and International Transport Senator Lisa Cummins, who said diversifying the tourism product was more critical at this point as the country continues to seek ways to recover from the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. She was addressing the 3rd quarterly general meeting of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, which was held online under the theme Adapting to the Changing Tourism Landscape.
It was a source of concern to me, certainly from a competitive advantage perspective, to know that there were other destinations here in the region whose tarmac at their international airport was full of private planes, and their hotels were full with luxury clients because they had developed an aggressive marketing plan to go after that segment of the market. We here in Barbados are creating a new business plan to be able to attract that business here to Barbados.
In addition, Cummins said the island was on its way to becoming a cruise hub, pointing out that local authorities were currently in negotiations with cruise line partners to make Barbados a home port for Southern Caribbean traffic.
For many, many years, you've heard about the fact that Barbados is at the end of the itinerary. Cruises typically start on a 7 or 14-day itinerary. They're starting in Miami or they're starting in Puerto Rico. Much of that traffic has now moved away from Puerto Rico, and we are working with our cruise line partners to develop Barbados as a home porting hub for Southern Caribbean traffic. To that extent, we have already developed new itineraries that allow for embarkation from Barbados and disembarkation from Barbados. So cruises will begin and end here, and more importantly for the hotel sector, we have integrated a pre and a post stay into the marketing efforts around that new product that we're negotiating.
There's regional and international news after this short break. Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, Jamaica's Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says doctors are now recommending the use of rapid test kits to detect COVID-19. The rapid test kit produces results in 15 minutes. More in this report from Television Jamaica.
The health minister says the view of doctors have changed from the earlier perception of the test not being necessary and as foolproof as the PCR tests currently being used. He was responding to calls from the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, and experts in the medical fraternity for the health authorities to expand their COVID-19 evaluation regime. JHTA President Omar Robinson says this will allow for a faster turnaround time for results for travellers. Speaking today on the morning agenda on Power 106 FM, Dr. Tufton said that the assessment of the most accurate rapid antigen test kit has started.
Now that we have the community transmission, there is value in using that approach, and we are now assessing because there are so many tests out there. Many of them are experimental, many of them are not validated by the respective agencies, and many of them have significant margins of error. And the authorities would like to put, or if they approve any, that would give greater guarantees. So it is a matter of time. It will happen. We just have to find the right tests and the right protocols around testing.
On the international scene in Sudan, the government has declared a state of emergency as the country grapples to cope with severe flooding. More than 110 people have died and thousands more have been displaced. We get the details in this Al Jazeera report.
This is how Nafahat Abdurrahman arrives to the doorsteps of her home these days. She comes to see if the water, which flooded it nearly 2 weeks ago, has receded. The yard, which was once dry and where she used to spend most of her evenings, is still covered with water from the Nile River, which is now steady after rising to levels not seen in more than a century.
We were surprised this year when the Nile waters entered our neighborhood. We didn't know what to do. There are no sandbags. There is no one to come and help us with what's happening. We decided to act on our own and bring sandbags, but we found the water coming in from all directions.
Much of Nafahat's neighborhood in the southern part of Sudan's capital Khartoum is now flooded. Some homes have collapsed as a result of the force of the water, as the river, which was once nearly 3 kilometers away, became one with the area. The levels of the Nile started rising 3 weeks ago, causing destruction as it flooded its banks and flowed into villages and towns. More than 100 people have died in the past month as a result, and more than 100,000 homes have been damaged or destroyed. More than 500,000 people have been displaced. Most left their homes with the help of their neighbors who've also lost their homes.
The people here are struggling. Despite all the difficulties, we're helping each other out because we can't abandon each other. We grew up together, so we can't just turn our backs on each other. We have to make sure that everyone here gets out safely because we're part of one neighborhood.
One neighborhood in the midst of dozens that have seen the same devastation.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.